to Strut Your Stuff Entrepreneurs. My name's Carly.
I'm Keon. Hello.
And today we have Kimra Luna from KimraLuna.com, and
Hi.
she is a branding specialist.
Hi, Kimra.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
No, it's nice to finally talk to you.
Yes, we've been following
Yes.
you a bit stalkerish type, but
We've been trying to, we've been writing as well, not as stalkerish as we hope. So basically we want to know all sorts about you, but I guess firstly, how you became an entrepreneur. Like the big question.
Well, it's kind of a big question because
Yeah.
I've been kind of an entrepreneur forever, like ever since I've been an adult, basically. But of course, I had lots of ups and downs and ups and downs. And I originally started out in the punk rock industry, as you could probably tell by looking at me. And I started out in that industry, booking concerts, doing events, event planning, touring and managing bands and all sorts of stuff like that. And then the economy crashed in like 2008. And also at the same time, I became pregnant with my first son.
Oh.
And so punk rock days was kind of over because you don't take a baby on tour with a bunch of drunk potheads. So that kind of ended that phase of my life. And then I actually ended up being on government assistance because my husband and I, we had no college experience or anything like that. So we ended up living at my in-laws' house with my baby, which the baby was born. And we ended up even having another baby while we lived there.
Oh,
so
wow.
we had 2 kids, and we ended up living there for about a total of 5 years.
wow.
Before either of us were able to get a really solid job, because we were just like, we just have to at least get a job. I mean, it was such a crazy time. No matter how much we applied for jobs, we couldn't find anything.
Yeah.
And so after a while, I was like, okay, we got to get out of this. And I saw a friend who had posted that there was a big oil boom and they were hiring men. Any man that can, lift a shovel, basically you had a job, right? So my husband found a job working for FedEx, delivering packages, delivering parcels. And so he ended up doing that, and we ended up moving across the country. And basically, I didn't have to work. He made enough money to pay the bills. However, as most people could probably tell, I'm like extremely hardcore passionate type of person. And so I was getting bored just being, the housewife.
Yeah.
And I told my husband, I was like, I really want to buy an iMac. It's because I want to go online. I want to make money. I want to do something. I'm like, I'm so bored. I got to do something. Because we didn't even own a computer. Because like literally we were like barely making the bills. And so I got my iMac, and we called the internet company, got the internet set up. And then I found a network marketing company. And so I started selling, health and wellness products and stuff like that. And that was when I started learning that people can make massive amounts of money online. I was like, this is crazy. Like, it was like, I was so, my mind was blown. I remember when I discovered Pat Flynn from Smart Passive Income. And on his website, it like says like his breakdown of like all this affiliate income he makes and all this stuff. And I was just like, this is crazy. Like, I want to do this, And I started just following all these online entrepreneurs, and I didn't have money to buy courses. So I bought everything. Everything was free. Really what I learned, I was like watching all the webinars and reading everybody's blog posts and listening to all the podcasts. And so I spent about 13 months just learning like crazy, learning. And in March, I decided to join B School. So I invested $2,000 in B School, which of course was a lot. And so I invested that in B School, and I was just like, I am just going to make my own brand work. I left my network marketing company and was like, bye, peace out, and decided to trudge my own path. And that was really, to me, that's really like my start of my entrepreneurial journey. Everything before was kind of like learning.
Yeah.
It was like I was learning, and then my start was this year in May.
So do you think, so there's a lot of people out there that factor in that time period, so the time that you were learning, they've actually started their business as well. So people look at you and they think, oh, well, you're an overnight success. But in reality, it took you a good, I think you just said 13 months to really learn about it.
Okay.
Hi everyone, we're back again, and we're actually in a new location because as it happens that our internet died, so we had to come to a pub, and it's only 10:30 in the morning in Melbourne. A bit too early to start drinking, but maybe
Not
after
yet.
this interview we will. So we were actually asking Kimra before this cut out about how long it took her before she took off basically in her business, and Kimra, can you just possibly just explain how long it took for you to educate yourself and how you did that?
Yeah, I basically spent, about 13 months of being obsessed with online marketing and following all the, marketing leaders and, watching every webinar and listening to all the podcasts. And, finally I had to make the decision to apply the information. And that was really, when my business took off, was when I was like, okay, I'm going to get this information and I'm just going to apply it to the best of my ability. And if I make mistakes along the way, then I make mistakes. If I have to start over again, I have to start over again. I was just like, I just have to do it. I was so sick of not reaching any of my goals. And so I just did it and stuck to it.
And I think that's a really good point, Kimra, because I think entrepreneurs, we're perfectionists in a way, and it's really good to just make that it's really good to just make that point that you just have to start, and even if you do make mistakes, just learn from them. And especially if it's public, do you agree with that you just have to get yourself out there in a raw fashion?
Yeah, it's more, people like to buy from people nowadays. It's kind of, people are turning away from wanting to buy from the big corporations and things like that. They want to buy from a real person. That's why websites like Etsy.com got so big. People want to buy from the person who's hand making it rather than the person who made it in a sweatshop,
Exactly.
in China,
Yeah.
So people are preferring to buy that way, and based off of buying habits, you gotta put yourself out there if you want someone to buy from you, because people want to buy from another person. That is just how things are. Even the big corporations are now having, their CEO be on commercials and trying to do all this stuff to be relatable to people, which it's still not really that relatable, but they're trying. They are trying, because they're seeing what's happening in the real online world, and they're seeing that it's people buying from people. And that's why so many big brands that start getting big, it's because usually they're sharing so much on social media. They're sharing their life. They're sharing behind the scenes of how they're developing a product. And, that sort of stuff is what really sells. And if you're afraid to get out there, you're not going to make sales. I mean, that's just really how it is. And if it's like, if you really have something where you can serve people and help people, holding back isn't serving you, and it's not serving them. And if we want to give people our gift, we want to be able to give that and share that with them, and you can't hold back.
What's a tip that you can give people to move forward, to make that decision to not hold back anymore, to get out there and strut their stuff like they
well, one thing is to get rid of all those negative people in your life who are saying crap to you, which is not true, and in your inner beingness that what they're saying is not true. You just, it, you're just like, okay, well, maybe I'll just wait, or maybe this is just a hobby, and
when are you gonna make money?
When are you gonna start making money? And sometimes it takes time to make that money, and you know what, being persistent works, but sometimes you just got to tell those people to shut the hell up. Shut up, stop telling me those things. And I've had people where their family members are so unsupportive of them, and I just tell them to say, hey, I'm not expecting you to come invest in my business. I'm not expecting you to go out of your way for my business. Just say, I'm only expecting you to be loving to me. And if you love me and care about me, you will support me in whatever I do. And to me, it's like, if someone can't agree to that, they're probably a person you shouldn't be spending much time around.
Yeah.
And I've actually told people before, I was like, I'm actually pro divorce because I'm like, if a husband can't support you in what you love to do, I just don't understand how someone could be with somebody like that.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't get it.
Yeah.
And some people are just like, oh, I love him, blah, blah. But I'm just like, yeah, but how are you ever going to do what you love? And how are you ever going to fulfill your truth and fulfill your beingness and fulfill your heart if you're being held back by this person?
It's funny you say that. It's funny you say that, Kimra, because my partner, he's getting all excited about my entrepreneurial journey now, and he's actually started doing online courses himself. And he said to me, I'm working at the minute, Carly. I need to have my time to do my course. I'm like, oh, okay. So
yeah, and it's great if you can find someone that is supportive like that. You know, my husband, he definitely doesn't want to be working in my business. He doesn't want to be like the face or anything like that. But he does want to do things behind the scenes, and he does want to learn how to invest the money that I'm making and learn how to do his own business. So it's wonderful to have somebody that can support you. And that's why I tell entrepreneurs, go online and find support. You know, when I had first moved with my husband clear across the country, I had no friends, no family members there. So I made all of my friends online. And it's easy to find supportive people online. It is, because you could just go in groups, go into spiritual groups or whatever you're interested in, go in the groups and find people who will support you and become friends with those people. And to me, that has been huge just for my success, because I can see other people who are supporting me and are happy to see my successes and happy to celebrate with me and happy to help me when I'm struggling. You know?
Well, speaking of that, Kimra, I need to ask, because you're actually pregnant at the moment, and is this your third child?
Yes.
So how do you manage your time being a mother with young kids and having a business?
Yeah, so for the first while, like I said, when I was spending all that time learning, I was basically in the mode of the minute my husband came home, I was like, you are taking the kids and I'm focusing on this. And I would listen to podcasts while I was doing the dishes. I would have my headset in and I'd be listening to podcasts, and, you know, I spent my time educating myself while I was with my kids. But I am kind of blessed I have 2 kids, because with 2 kids, they actually play together. So make things a little bit easier. You know, if the kids want to go play outside, all I got to do, sit in my chair, I got my laptop, and they're just running around, kicking the ball, playing in the sprinklers or whatever, and doing their own thing. So for me, it hasn't been super difficult. And once I was able to retire my husband, which was pretty quickly, I retired my husband, and so now he's home with them too. So like right now while I'm doing this, he's downstairs, I don't know, they're probably playing video games or rustling around or tickle fights or something, you know, reading books or something. They're down there doing their own thing, and I'm able to do this.
What advice would you give to other women who have started their online business and are waiting for something to happen? How do they become successful, or how do they start making money? What do you have, a secret formula or something that you can let us all know?
Well, it's mainly to make it happen and to really start networking with other people in your industry and learn from other people. But for me, a big part of it has been actually going out there and just talking to people, giving more people value, getting my face in front of people, because that's the only way you could do it. It's like people just like, oh, like, I guess I'll post once in a while on Instagram, or I'll do this. And it's like, you can't guess. Like, you got to just pick one of those social medias and go for it, you know? Like, pick one and become amazing at it. And then you could move on to other ones. You know, you have to have some consistency and get into habits of doing things. And it can be hard with kids. Like me, I'm not as consistent with emails. I'm not as consistent with blog posting. I know that those are my weaknesses. However, I'm very consistent at going inside my Facebook groups and providing value to people. So you got to have one thing you're really consistent at and you're doing really, really well, and just stick to that one thing and be good at it. And, don't spread yourself too thin. That seems to be the biggest issue, is like They think they need to be on every social media, and I gotta, spend all my time growing this massive email list. You actually don't need that big of an email list to have a lot of success.
Yeah.
You just need to have good quality people on the email list and good quality fans and followers who are really who you want to target and promote products to, because that's what really matters. It doesn't matter the quantity, it matters the quality.
Yes, and we've just realised that ourselves. It's it seems like there's this big race to build your list and stuff like that. It doesn't matter who gets on your list, but we've sort of stopped and gone, hang on a minute, we want to do it organically, we want to do it naturally, and we want the people to want to be there.
We want them to love us
and engage with us, and we want to get to know them and love them, and we found that it's slowly creeping up. So I just think we did have that pressure beforehand in our other businesses where we were trying really hard just to, do challenge after challenge after challenge of trying to get people on our list. And you sort of forget about your business as well. You forget your why.
Yeah. Actually, you've just gone through another big launch. How many launches have you done so far throughout your business now?
Well, technically, I've only done one launch, which was in April. I did do a promo last week, and it just happened to turn out really big. I didn't mean for it to turn out big. I was like, what the hell is going on?
You obviously know what you're doing.
It just turned into something much bigger. But yeah, I did have a big launch in August, which, I was really giving value to my list for months before I started that launch.
Okay.
That was like my first major, product to sell to people. Before that, I was mostly doing like one-on-one type of coaching. And, in August, I was like, I'm totally just going to launch this. I'm going to do a jillion webinars, because I was just like, I don't know how the hell you launch, right? Like, I was just like, I'm just going to do a bunch of webinars, put value in front of people, because everyone's like, value, right? And now that's like what I preach to everyone, value. So I was like, I'm going to put a bunch of value in front of people. And it was a spectacular launch, like way huger than I could have even imagined. Wow. And after I closed the doors to my program, I still had people basically begging me to join my program. Wow. And that was why last week I figured, because here in the States we had Thanksgiving and there was the holidays, so I figured, hey, I'll open the door for the holiday and we'll see what happens. And it turned out to be another like launch when I didn't even do a launch.
Oh, wow. So it's more about engaging as well. I think launching is another big pressure that we have. Well, we're looking at launching a product in January, and we keep thinking, what do we need to do? So I guess it's all about engaging, and is that your biggest tip for us and everyone else?
Yeah, that's really the biggest thing. Before you even start a launch, you have to be building those relationships with the audience. You have to be consistent with the building the relationship audience. You can't post one blog post a month and then expect people to, want to buy something when you have something to sell. You do have to have that consistency to get that momentum. So once the launch happens, they're like, of course I want to buy. They're thinking in their head, of course I want to buy from them. They're awesome, and they want to buy it. And that's one of the things that I kind of learned accidentally. Like, I didn't know that was like a thing, but it's like I started my brand in May, and I was doing consistent webinars because that was just my strength. I was good at it, and I loved teaching all the how-to stuff. So I was like, that's my strength. I'm just going to keep doing it and be consistent at it. And then when I did my launch, it was like a no-brainer for people.
Just on the whole webinar thing, how much, like, a lot of people struggle with the information giving. Like, what do they give? Do you give away everything in the webinars?
Is with my stuff, I can't give away everything because it's only an hour-long platform. So it's like if the first, 15 minutes of the webinar is you talking about, what you're going to teach. You introduce yourself, who you are, and basically why you're qualified to teach them. And then you get into basically like either some sort of case study or somebody who's had success on what you're teaching about. Like if I did a webinar on, building an email list or something, I would teach, this person, they started from here to here and they use this thing and that helps them grow their list or build their community or something. And then you have about a half an hour where you're teaching. And so it's like, your program should be longer than a half an hour long.
Yeah.
You know, so you're not going to be giving away all your content. You know, you're just wanting to give away kind of like some of the main bullet points, you know, a little bit of the what, a little bit of the how to, and then at the end you pitch and tell them like, hey, if you want to continue this journey, if you want to keep working with me, get into, you know, this is what I have to offer. And it's basically a lot of the stuff you learned today, but much more in depth.
Yeah.
You know, and then you pitch your product. And for me, it's just like, that's never been an issue for me, because even my first few webinars, I didn't even have anything to pitch.
Wow.
I was just on there like,
talking.
Hey everyone, I just want to provide people value, and because I needed to start my list somehow. I needed to start my community somehow. I was like, I need a community. I can't sell anything if there's no one to sell it to, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, wow.
And would you still show up even if there was no, like, you know, if you'd advertise that I'm going to be here at this time and nobody was there, would you still go ahead?
I would still show up just to practice, you know, because I'm a real believer in practicing webinars. Because some people, you know, sometimes the issue with their webinars is their pace. You know, sometimes they're too slow. Sometimes they're too fast. And I mean, teaching, it's a finesse. That's why people go to school to become a teacher. You know, like there's some finesse to teaching, but you get better over time. And it's like you can't get good at a webinar if you don't do it. So many people are afraid of doing webinars and live presentations. I'm just like, why? To me, I don't understand why, because I'm like, it's not hard to teach what's in your head. You know, if you know something and you're knowledgeable about it, you should be able to talk about that for 30 minutes, you know, and then say what your program is.
You can't actually see anybody. So,
so you can and it can be different, you know, because I use, you know, platforms that use like Google Hangouts, so people see me a little bit, then I screen share a little bit, sometimes I go back to me, and I make it really personal. And I had seen one person who said, well, I don't like webinars because they're not very personal. And I said, well, you never been on one of my webinars, because my webinars are like the opposite of that. You know, I really like to connect with the audience, and I really like to ask them questions, and even ask them to help each other out in the chat box. Like if somebody's asking questions, I'll just be like, hey, does anybody have, you know, any opinions on that topic? You know, go in the chat box and help that person out. You know, like I like to make it so it's a community experience rather than just like me being like a, you know, college lecturer or something, you know, like, you know, I like it to be where it is more just a fun experience. And I think the biggest selling point on my webinars is opening up for a Q&A at the end so people can ask me questions, because that really gives them real value. Because most people, they don't get one-on-one time with me. I don't do one-on-one coaching anymore. So people can't get that one-on-one. But on a webinar, they can. So I can, you know, I always set a timer for 20 minutes, be like, hey, everyone, 20 minutes, me answering any questions, either about the topic or about my program, whatever you want to ask about, put it in the chat box. And then I'll start answering people's questions. And people love that. I get so many emails after webinars like, oh, thank you so much for answering my question. You know, and that's how you build a community of raving fans with people who want whatever you are selling.
Our motto is that there's no competition. So we actually don't believe in competition, because
I don't either.
we say, well, there's only one of me, there's only one of you, and there's never going to be another one of us, and they're never going to teach what we teach or how we teach. So we might have the similar sort of content, but, you know, it's only like some people can only hear it from me and the way I teach.
Or they like the way she sounds, and they hate the way someone else sounds.
Or they might not like the look of me, but they like the look of her. So.
Well, and I have a very unique teaching style. I am a bit more in your face and abrupt, and I'm straight to the point, like, forget the fluff, forget this crap, like just do this. You know, like I have a certain teaching style, and I guarantee you there's people who hate my teaching style. There's people who've been on my webinars and they freaking opt out of my list right after the webinar's over. They're just like, this person's crazy, you know? So,
but that's
so
good,
for
though.
me, it's like, there's no competition. It doesn't exist. And I mean, I am close friends. Like even my mastermind buddy, who me and her, we call each other in mastermind time. We're both branding strategists. Both of us, we're the same industry, and we bounce the ideas off of each other. You know, we're the exact same industry. technically we're competition, but no, we're not competition because our audiences are completely different types of people. And yeah, so it's to me it's interesting. I mean, there is no one to compare to except yourself.
That's right.
You know, and for me, I'm just like, I just want to grow, make my brand better, make my programs better, be a better servant to my audience. And that's all I want to do. And I'm just going to keep doing that. And no one's going to stop me.
And with, with the fear factor, I don't know whether we hit this before, but, you know, there are the fear of actually putting yourself out there. How did you ever go, oh, crap, I can't do this, you know, who am I to do this?
Or even,
hard.
even if you had people that did criticize you. Because I know people, they just worry about the criticism.
I do get actually a lot of criticism because of how blunt I am with things, because I have cuss words on my sales page, because, you know, like I do get criticism. And for me, when I was first starting out, I was like, do I have to look more clean cut? Do I have to, you know, just have regular colored hair? You know, do I have to do things a certain way or talk a certain way? Because I'm not one that sits around and reads business books all day. I don't, because I just want to go off my intuition. I just want to go off my gut and be like, hey, this sounds like an awesome idea. Let's do it, you know, because I prefer that way. And so I don't really say things as, you know, how other people would talk, or I don't use a lot of, like, you know, the words people are just like, oh, what's your, you know, CRM and EDF? I'm like, what the hell do those things even mean? Like, what are you talking about? It's like all this
the English, mate.
business jargon, and I'm just like, I just talk to people like they're normal human beings, you know, so they can understand what I'm talking about. So
now this is going to sound weird, Kimra. Sorry.
Huh?
So last night I actually had a dream about you. It's going to sound very weird. And I actually dreamt that it was 10 o'clock. No, it was 10:30. And I said, Keon, we're supposed to have an interview at 10 o'clock. And it's funny that we've changed environments and it's all happened. And I was actually dreaming about MySpace as well. Do you remember MySpace, or did you have MySpace?
Yes.
Because I think we're the same age. Do you remember what your song was?
I used MySpace like right after high school.
Do you remember your song? You know how you had like an overview song on your site?
Oh, no, it's probably some punk rock song.
Well, that's what I said.
I don't
my song was, oh, I wish I was a punk rocker with flowers in my hair. And it was like beaming in my head this morning.
And I said, oh, well, there you go, you're interviewing Kimra.
It's just so funny that I was thinking about that.
You're so funny.
That's awesome. Love it. I'm going to have to like download that song now.
Oh, you go. No, I don't have anything.
Oh, okay. Just on the topic of, so you've had some real lows in your life before, so you've hit rock bottom and stuff like that.
You're telling me.
And you got, I suppose, involved with the law of attraction and law of abundance and stuff. Can you tell us a bit about that and how that plays in your business and your life?
Yeah, and it plays a huge role in my business. When I actually ended up being on welfare for 5 years, when that whole situation happened and I was living with my in-laws with the kids and stuff, that was when I started learning about the law of attraction, and I started learning about spirituality, and I started learning that, you know, my mind affects, you know, how I feel. I can choose a positive thought or a negative thought about something, and that was huge for me, and I know it's why I have had the success I've had. And, you know, a lot of people, because I am more of a techie type of trainer, I don't necessarily talk about it at ridiculous amounts, but I usually end up talking about on interviews like this because people always ask me. But it has been a huge part of my brand, and without, you know, being conscious and aware of the thoughts I'm thinking or things I'm saying about myself or about my business, it's like I need to know that I can switch what I'm saying and switch my thoughts to attract what I really want. You know, if I'm just like, oh my gosh, today is the worst, well, guess what? It keeps getting worse, you know? And so usually if I get to the point where I'm like frustrated or mad or something just going on or so many technical glitches and, you know, like that stuff happens. I'm an online business, right? And like all this technical stuff can happen.
Like
that's
today.
when I'm just like, okay, take a step back, go take a nap, go do something, and just try to relax so that I can get in the right mindset in order to be able to get on here and be on an interview or, do what I have to do for the day.
And that's really good to hear because Keon, she's the spiritual person and it's kind of rubbing off on me, and I'm sometimes trying to see the signs and trying to figure out which direction to take, and sometimes I say to myself, I just can't see the signs. So I actually ask a question and I'm like, oh no, where do I look for the sign?
I think
and one of the things is
talking so much in your head, and then you'll actually hear the signs.
Exactly, and one of the things is like, because a lot of people, they get that self-doubt, and for me, the only reason why I think I don't get self-doubt, it very rarely ever comes up anymore, is because I'm so busy just taking the action and applying that there is no doubt, because I'm just like, it has to work. It's like, I already put the webinar up. I already put the Facebook ads up. If people don't show up, it's already in motion. And so it's because I'm already putting this stuff into motion. I can't doubt myself. I just have to do it. I just have to follow through. I just have to do the best I possibly can.
It's keeping yourself accountable, isn't it? That's the way to keep yourself accountable.
I mean, once you've already made your webinar registration page and you posted a Facebook ad for it, there's no turning back.
That's right. It's like
you're in it.
I'm not looking forward to childbirth. Oh gosh, and you're I don't know, you're nearly gonna get. Don't worry.
I know. I don't mind childbirth though, actually. My last experience was pretty good. My first experience wasn't that good. Last time was actually pretty good.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Well, you can have the childbirth you want if you visualize it.
Exactly. I actually used Reiki. Most people don't know I'm a Reiki master, and so I'm all about Reiki and all my crystals and all that stuff.
I love that.
I used Reiki to really stay focused and calm and relaxed, and it turned out to be a very beautiful experience.
Oh, wow.
My doula said it was like one of the best births she'd ever been to in her entire life, and she's now my midwife. I moved to California back home because I wanted to be with my midwife.
Oh, wow.
So
that's really
luckily,
cool.
My business has enabled me to be able to do that. Exactly. Most women wouldn't be able to just fly across the country to choose who they want to have a baby with, but I was able to do that to be able to go to my midwife that I wanted.
That's awesome. You give me goosebumps.
Yeah.
We have one last question.
Yeah, your special question.
We better let you go so that you can go and probably tend to your boys and your family. We could talk to you all day.
I know.
Just quickly, we have another arm of Strut Your Stuff entrepreneurs, and it's called Strut Your Stuff Juniors. So what we're trying to do is we're still developing it, and we want people to push past the doubts and the fears they get. I'm 42 this year at the end of the year, and Carly's a spring chicken 28, but we still have these fears at this age. We want people that are up and coming to not have those fears, to be able to go through without self-doubt and the fear of being perfect and all of that sort of crap that we put in our heads. What advice would you give to the 15-year-old Kimra now?
That's a good question. I think the advice I would give is to just not care what anybody says and just go with what your intuition is telling you. That's been so vital for my business now, is just saying, like, if people are saying things to hold me back, that's really a reflection of their beliefs about themselves, and it has nothing to do with me. And I used to let people really, tear me down, because especially like my 15-year-old self, I was like the punk rock chick, I was like the weird kid at school, couldn't get a boyfriend if my life depended on it, it was like all of those things, all those insecurities, and I really did let what people say affect me, and it used to affect me and make me very angry, and I became a very angry person as a teenager, and it's because I was letting what other people said affect me. And so I think if I went back, I'd say, don't let that stuff affect you. It doesn't matter what the hell they say. That's their issues. That's not yours. And you just need to follow your light and your path rather than listen to what all these other people are saying over here.
That's perfect.
Awesome. Thank you.
Do you want to tell us a bit about your business, how people can reach you, and if you have anything up and coming events?
Yes. My business is KimraLuna.com. That's my website. And I, like we said in the beginning, I teach branding. And I do have a signature program, which is called Be True Brand You. And you can go to BeTrueBrandYou.com to get on the wait list for that. The doors are currently closed for that program, but they will open in February-ish, somewhere around there. I'm pregnant, so I'm undecided. So. We get a little undecided sometimes, pregnant women. So BeTrueBrandYou.com. That's my main program that I sell, and that teaches people basically everything that's inside of my head, inside of video format.
Yeah.
So
cool,
awesome.
Thank you so much.
Social media. Which one's your favorite? Yeah. Just quickly.
I typically Facebook. I actually have a really awesome Facebook community. My group is called the Freedom Hackers Mastermind.
Yeah.
And if you just search that on Facebook, you could find my wonderful community of over 3,000 entrepreneurs in there. Yeah. It's a really fun, active group.
I'm a part of it.
Yeah, it's a great group. Yeah. And that's usually where most people can find me and be in contact with me.
And anybody can ask to join, can they? After
anybody can ask to join.
Excellent.
Yeah. All right. And as long as your profile doesn't look like a spammy one, I'll approve you.
Yeah. Excellent.
Great.
Thank you so much for your time and your patience with our glitches. It was the universe getting us in a nice, cooler spot.
I know. It was really great to meet you and talk to you in person. And we'll stay in touch and keep communicating in Freedom Hackers.
Baby. And we'll speak to you soon.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.